Hello, YouTube friends. Quick shout out to Stoner 420 1979 and Skanda 420 Navia. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy.
The Late Night Crew.
To start, I go to school in Boston. For privacy reasons, I'm not going to include the name of the school, but if anyone reading this also goes here, I think you'll be able to figure it out. So at the end of the spring semester last year, one of the dorm buildings on campus was closed for renovations. Since then, construction crews have been constantly working on completely stripping the building and redoing it entirely. Lately, it's become a bit of an issue because the dorm I'm living in right now is right next to it, so residents are often woken up very early in the morning to the work being done. In response, the school set up a meeting for students to voice their concerns to the project manager and members of the administration here. Obviously, nothing can be done to stop the construction. They just want to make it look like they care and are trying to do something about it. I'll get back to this later. Anyways, on a few occasions, I've seen workers doing work right outside my window. There's probably like a 20-foot gap between my room and a part of the building having all the construction being done, so I have a really clear view of anyone out there. If my window's open, I can also hear them talking. I never really thought too much of it. I expected to see people there. The weird thing is that sometimes the workers show up really late, like between the hours of 12:30 a.m. and 2 a.m. late. I usually notice because I'll see flashlights moving outside my window and hear the door that leads onto the roof opening and shutting. At first, I was a little weirded out by it. Why would they need to be up there that late? As it continued though, I just started ignoring it because I figured it was just some late night crew or security that went up to make sure nothing was out of place. As I very recently found out though, that is not the case. About a week ago, I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep. Suddenly, a brief flash lit up the room. I looked around for a minute and then it happened again. I looked out the window and realized it was just the workers walking around the roof with flashlights. I ignored them and tried to fall asleep. Before I could even close my eyes though, I heard a conversation ensue. "He's sleeping," a deep voice said. "Yeah, looks like it," responded another voice. "Tonight?" asked the first voice. No, let's wait a little longer," said the second voice. "Whatever you say," said the first voice. Soon after, I heard the door shut and peeked out the window to see both of them had left. I stayed frozen in my bed for a while, wondering if they had been talking about me. I eventually told myself that they were talking about a friend of theirs or something, and I had nothing to worry about. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. When I woke up, I was still a little worried, so I asked my roommates if they've ever seen or heard those guys out there. Both of them thought I was joking, but I assured them I was very serious. Both said they had no idea what I was talking about. They didn't come back for another week, but before I saw them again, I decided to attend the sit-down the school had set up. When it was my turn to speak, I asked about the late-night crew. I wanted to know why they were up there so late and if it was entirely necessary, as it was preventing me from getting a full night's rest. The project manager just stared at me for a minute. "Late night crew?" he asked. "Yeah, the guys who come up there sometimes really late and just kind of walk around with flashlights," I responded. He stared at me for another minute or so. "We don't have a late night crew," he said in a quiet voice. No one said anything. Everyone was just staring at me. Finally, someone from the administration said that it was maybe homeless people who had found a way up to the roof and were using it as shelter, and that they would keep a better eye on the entrances to the building at night. There are a lot of impoverished individuals in the area, so it sort of made sense. The only part that I was still confused about was that the people aren't staying up there all night, but just for 5 to 10 minutes. I decided not to mention that part. That was 2 days ago. I didn't see anyone that night, but last night is a different story. Same as usual. I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep when I heard the door open again. This time, though, there were no flashlights. Very slowly, I strained my neck to get a look out the window while still remaining hidden. I saw 2 figures standing on the roof, facing my window. Nothing happened for about 30 seconds, and then one of them said something. I recognized the 2 voices as the ones from before. Their conversation went a little like this. "Did you get that email from Bill? Bill is the project manager. Yeah, looks like this isn't gonna work out, huh? Guess not. You think he's listening right now?" "It's possible. Are you? Can you hear us, buddy? Are you listening?" At this point, my heart was practically beating through my chest. I didn't know how to react. I just stayed in the same position, completely frozen, hoping they would just leave. "Cut it out. We really shouldn't be up here much longer." "What? I'm just messing around." "But yeah, you're right. Looks like this is goodbye, bud. Don't worry though. We'll be seeing you around." After a brief moment of neither of them speaking, they both turned to the door and walked away. I didn't sleep much last night because of that. I don't really know how to handle something like this, and if I should bring it up with the school again. Based on what they said, though, it seems like they won't be around anymore. Still, though, these guys know where I live. I can only hope they haven't seen my face, but I think I'll be avoiding the construction area for a while.
Creepy old man.
I tried to post this a couple days ago, but messed up on formatting. Quick background. This took place when I was about 8 years old. My mom would drop me off at my babysitter's house every morning before school. Then the babysitter would pick me up after school and watch me with 2 or 3 other kids until my grandma picked me up after work. My mom was taking night classes at the time. So, one morning my mom had dropped me off at my babysitter's house. She was a very tall, old woman with snow white hair. She honestly reminded me of an owl. Most mornings she would leave the lights off for me in the living room so I could sit on the couch, close my eyes, and rest before we left for school. This particular morning I wasn't super tired, so I just sat in the dark on the couch and just closed my eyes. I usually stayed within the perimeters of just the living room and the bathroom, which was the first door when you entered the hallway of the rest of the house. I knew my babysitter lived with her husband, her daughter, and granddaughter, but I never really saw them much. All I knew was that her husband was very sick and recently had surgery. For what? I didn't know. Anyways, as I was sitting on the couch with my eyes closed, I heard slow footsteps coming down the hall towards the living room. I didn't think much of it, just figured someone had to use the bathroom. But they actually walked all the way into the entryway of the living room. It was pretty dark. The only light was from the window that had the current drawn almost all the way down. A short, wide figure stood in the hallway. As this person came closer, I realized it was her husband. He was in only boxers and socks. You could see that he had some sort of open chest heart surgery. He had staples going down his chest. I have never spoke to this man or had much interaction with him. He walks over, sits down next to me. No space between us whatsoever. He's breathing heavily, like the kind of breathing you would hear if a stalker was trying to mess with you on the phone. And he puts his hand high up my thigh and just sat there. I was frozen, solid, sweating bullets. I had no idea what the heck was going on, or why he felt comfortable sitting in the dark with an 8-year-old he barely knew, or why he thought putting his hand inappropriately on my thigh was acceptable. We literally sat there in silence, other than his breathing. Finally, he got up and just slowly walked back into the hall. I just remember feeling off that day and confused. When I told my mom about it that night, she totally freaked out, called the babysitter. I don't remember what she said, but my mom immediately found a replacement babysitter. Not the creepiest or craziest story, but I definitely never forgot how weird I felt. So, creepy old man, let's not meet again. Although at this point you are probably dead.
Can I buy your dog?
I don't know if this is the right material for this sub, but I guess it was kind of odd. I was going to In-N-Out with my family and we decided to bring my dog. He was bred as kind of a show dog, a German Shepherd, but we got him to alert us for intruders, so kind of utility, but he is a pretty good-looking dog, as his parents were award winners, plus we took care of him. We couldn't leave him inside the car, as it was a sunny day, so my dad stood for a while with him outside. My dad, dog, brother, and I were staying outside as my mom ordered inside. While we were waiting, there were a couple of people that passed by and looked at our dog. The usual. Who doesn't love dogs? However, there was this one woman, and I assumed husband, that lingered around us. The look of the husband was kind of normal, but this woman was an odd one. She had scraggly hair kind of, and was stout, probably mid-40s. She approached us and immediately began showering us with, "Aw, he's so cute, looks so nice," things like that. Then with a joking tone asked, "Can I buy him?" Me and my dad laughed and he said, "No, but sometimes I wish. What a troublemaker." Then it got kind of odd. "His ear is down. May I ask where you got him?" My dad complied and they shared information about his weight, where we got him, what breeder, but then she pressed again. "Can I have him?" We kind of nervously laughed again. This was 5 minutes. Kinda long for someone who doesn't have a dog to make them stick around, but it was fine. Then she started to bend down and talk to my dog, ignoring us and speaking with that mushy, "Aw, I wish I could just take you home." We looked at this woman, who did this stroking for a good 15 seconds, and then she stood up once more and pressed, "Is he for sale?" My dad answered with a quick no, and by now me and my brother were awkwardly standing around while this woman lost her joking tone and was pressing insistently to buy our dog. Sure, he was of purebred quality, and maybe she was a breeder or avid dog fan, but this went on for what seemed like hours. My mom finally came with the food, and we said, bye, with a tone that was rushed, and we hurried back to the car. Again, this is a little soft for this, but maybe, lady, if you happen to be seeing this obscure internet post, then let's not meet.